Hi guys, and welcome back to my latest video. Today I wanted to answer the question of, do nurses get lunch breaks? Because this is actually quite a common question. I think it's really an awesome subject to discuss because I asked this on my Instagram, how many of you guys actually take your lunches, and what's the reason that you don't take your lunch if you don't get one, and I had a very overwhelming response. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my experience with this. So I think that all nurses should get lunch breaks every shift. You should get a lunch break every shift. But that doesn't always happen. So to answer the question, do nurses get lunches? Yes, they do, but there are many situations where I have not gotten a lunch, or I've personally chosen not to take a real lunch. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about that. So back when I worked med surg, I took a lunch every single shift. I don't think I had one shift where I didn't get to at least go back and eat something, because that was just the type of job I had. We had good coverage for our, letting one nurse go, take a quick break, and, another nurse would cover you. And it worked out. I don't think I missed a lunch break, maybe once, I don't know, but obviously it wasn't significant enough for me to remember. But now that I work ICU, my kind of opinion on lunches have really changed. So I still think that nurses should always take a lunch break. You should get that opportunity, and if you don't, it's very unfortunate. I've heard a lot of you guys say that you don't get lunch breaks due to staffing issues, high acuity, just you don't have the ability to take a lunch break because your job or work may not see it as a priority. Now that I work in the ICU, I actually rarely take a lunch. I always get food and will eat something, but I don't take my 30 minutes where I sit in the back and get an uninterrupted lunch break, which whatever that is. And that's just personal choice. Now that I take care of really sick patients, my first couple months in the ICU, I did take a lunch break, and then I had an instance where something happened on my lunch break to one of my patients, and it wasn't the nurse covering's fault. It just happened because you're having one nurse take care of 4 ICU patients for that 30 minutes, and you may get stuck in one room for 30 minutes and you can't really be listening out super well, and it just happens. So it wasn't this nurse's fault. The patient ended up being fine, but it really I just got to this point where I was like, you know what? I can just sit at my desk and eat lunch. As long as I eat, I'm fine. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, you're crazy, you need to take a lunch break, you're going to get burnt out, yada yada. It's just my personal choice. Many nurses in the ICU do this because they have had similar situations where things have happened to their patients when they've left the unit or gone on lunch. So I do occasionally will take a full 30-minute lunch break where I sit in the back if my patients are super stable, or maybe they're walkie-talkies, or maybe I just have one, so it's not so difficult for the nurse next to me to watch them. But it really depends on what's going on in the unit. If 4 patients are coding at one time, I'm not going to go take my lunch break. It's silly. With that being said, I really do think that nurses should get lunches, and it would be nice if they were always uninterrupted lunch breaks, but there's just something in us that if you're on your lunch and a doctor is there and you need to ask them questions, and you've been waiting all shift to talk to them about these questions, and you're on your lunch, you're still going to go out and talk to them because you want to get those questions answered for your patients. That's just something in us that we're advocates for our patients. We care. We want to, get our answers, and we don't want to have to call a doctor back, 30 minutes later when they were just there. So that's just kind of the culture. But if you think about it, there's many jobs that your lunch breaks aren't, fully, uninterrupted. Teachers, other healthcare providers, if you're working in an office, if you're a business person, there's many times where your lunches aren't fully uninterrupted, and it's just kind of the culture and part of being a nurse. And if you're one that wants your 30-minute lunch break every single shift, then you may be able to get it, and you may have to be flexible if there's a day where you just can't because you're busy. And I feel like this video is very rambly, so I'm sorry, but let me know in the comments below kind of your opinions on this topic. To sum it up, I think every nurse should get a lunch, absolutely, hands down. If there's someone else that needs to cover you, your manager needs to step in, whatever needs to happen has to happen. But for me personally, there's instances where I don't, because I have a patient or two that are just too sick and it's not safe to leave them because I know someone is not going to be able to watch them. And for me, it's like I'd rather leave on time than stay 30 minutes later because I had to take a 30-minute lunch break. That's just me personally. But let me know your thoughts and what you've seen, where you're at, and what works for you or what doesn't work for you, and why you get a lunch and why you don't get a lunch, and all those things. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.